All righty, here we go. All right. So, folks, we are here to talk about the upcoming return to hybrid. I'm so excited. This is going to be such a wonderful thing to end the year in person. So I will be posting the slides as well as the recording of this video. So if your internet drops out or if you have to go make dinner or if someone that you know can't get here, please know that we will be sharing this out so that everyone gets the information that they need. And like I said, please feel free to use the chat box or go ahead and unmute and we will dialogue. So let's just jump on in. As we are planning a return to hybrid, a return to school, our goal is to make sure that no matter what your child's experience is, whether it's continuing in virtual or coming here on campus, that they have the best instruction and best experience possible. We also have to make sure that everyone is safe. Health and safety is priority number one. But my goal personally that I've been talking to teachers about and to staff about is that I want every student to want to come back to San Miguel next year. I want everyone to say, this year was really hard and I had lots of things that were great and lots of things that weren't so great. I am ready to come back to San Miguel and do it over next year because that means that we've done our job this year. Even though we only have kids on campus for a short window of time, I want all of them to go, wow, that was amazing. I can't wait to come back in the fall. So we'll talk about each of these things from kind of a big district perspective and then also spend a good chunk of time talking about San Miguel specifics because that's really where all of us want our information. What's happening at San Miguel? All right. So you may recognize this slide. This has been shared at school board meetings. This has also been shared to staff. Information was sent out to families via our weekly newsletter, via Dojo, via Infinite Campus. So some of these slides may look familiar, but regardless, I want everyone to have the same information. So families have a choice. Families were sent a survey and they could opt to keep their child in virtual learning for the remainder of the school year or have them return to a hybrid in-person schedule. I am going to focus our conversation today on San Miguel grades, which is preschool through 6th. There are definitely things happening at 7th and 8th grade, but I am not the expert in that matter. So I would encourage you that if you do have older kiddos to connect with that, your child's school specifically. But our time today is about our preschool through 6th graders here at San Miguel. Preschool will be on an AM/PM model, which I'll show you in just a moment. And then our kindergarten through 6th grade will be on a group A, group B, which is a split week model. We have lots of guidelines that govern how we reopen, not only from a health and safety perspective and an instructional perspective, but also in terms of what we're obligated to do for kids regarding funding and all of that good stuff. All of the links that you'll see in the presentation, those are live links. So when you do get this document, you can click on any of these and you'll be able to access them in more detail. Personally, my favorite document is on the district website. It's the Lemon Grove Road to Reopening Plan. It's the easiest to read. It's the clearest one to follow in terms of, okay, as a parent, what do I need to know? So lots of other things are linked within this presentation and on our district website. But if you want like the down and dirty, easy to read, user-friendly version, I encourage you to look at the roadmap to reopening, and that's linked further in our presentation. But there is information from the Department of Public Health, CDC, the County Office of Education. We have a COVID prevention plan, lots and lots of documents and lots of resources. But I'm hoping that this presentation right here can be like your one-stop shop, whether it's for links or for San Miguel specific information. So there is an overarching timeline as we plan our return. You can see that some of these dates are in the past, but it's important to know where we've been to figure out where we're going. So parents, you all had the option to submit a response for a survey between March 5th and March 14th. I have the results of that I'll share with you in a little bit. And then we did have a small group of students that were on campus receiving support, specifically students with IEPs. And so that last Friday, that was the last day for our on-site support. Today, everyone reported back to campus. So it got really, really busy here. All of our staff are back, and it was hectic and wonderful all at the same time. And now that all of our staff are here, you'll notice that your children are on a bit of a different learning schedule this week. Rather than having a full day of Zoom and assignments, it's really just a chunk of time in the morning, and then the rest of the time is asynchronous learning. And that's because our staff have a huge amount of work to do to get ready for our plan after spring break. And again, that plan does include students that are remaining in our virtual learning environment, and students that are returning to hybrid. So in order to make sure that we get our teachers prepared with health and safety protocols and training in terms of new requirements for instruction and getting them time to set up their classrooms, they are really prioritizing being on campus and doing that work, knowing that they will soon be seeing many of your kids in person after spring break. Next week begins our 2-week spring break. I hope that everyone spends lots of time sharpening the saw as we get ready for what's soon to be a whirlwind, a wonderful, wonderful whirlwind. And then April 12th, our students that are in preschool, kindergarten, first and second grade, and our students that are in Miss Reich, Mr. Royal, and Mrs. Villa's class, those kiddos return to to campus for their hybrid instruction. If you have kiddos that are in grades 3, 4, 5, 6, they will remain virtual learning with their teacher during that week. And then they begin their on-campus schedule the week of April 19th. We will go over the hybrid model in a little bit more detail in just a couple of slides, but please make sure that you know where your children fit into those weeks, April 12th versus April 19th. And then June 16th is our last day of school and also our date of promotion. Yes, we've already started a promotion plan and I'm super excited about it. So that will be our 6th grade promotion as well. And parents and family members, please feel free to unmute and use the chat if you would like to ask questions or make any kind of comments. It's hard for me to just sit here and like Charlie Brown to you all. So please, if you have things that you want to share or ask, please do so. Please, please, please do so. This is your time. All right, so this is our timeline moving forward. Oh, wrong way. Sorry, guys. As I mentioned, we did make a survey available. I'm sure that most of you were like, stop sending me the survey link. I've already filled it out. But we would much rather kind of saturate you all with it than say that you didn't get it. So San Miguel's specific data, as a result of that, we have 336 students that will be returning to a hybrid in-person schedule, and 77 students remaining in a virtual group, a virtual learning environment. Now, this is just for San Miguel. We filtered out all of the duplicates. We did have some families who submitted the survey day 1 and then said, oh my gosh, I changed my mind. And then we gave them the option to fill it out again. So we took their most recent survey results. So all of those things filtered out. This is how we landed here at San Miguel. So you'll see the majority of our kids are going to be returning to some sort of in-person hybrid learning. All right, so if you have a kiddo who is in preschool, this is what the preschool hybrid model will look like. And again, these slides may look familiar to you. They've been used in a variety of presentations and settings. But Miss Miriam and her team will be having an AM group of students from 8 to 11 and a PN group of students between 12 and 3. What I am not sure about, and I just haven't gotten confirmation yet, is whether that afternoon group will be in person, which would be the 5 little pink buildings right here, or whether that will be distance learning. They're still sorting out the results of their survey because families of students in preschool had that same option to remain in distance learning or to come back in hybrid. And I'm just not sure where they've landed yet. So that is our plan for preschool. And then our students in kindergarten through 6th grade, they will be in an A group or a B group. If they are in an A group, they are on campus Monday and Tuesday. And if they're in a B group, they're on campus Thursday and Friday. And then those little computer looking icons means that they're doing asynchronous work and synchronous instruction. You'll see that everyone on Wednesday is purple computer, and that's because everybody, all of our students are learning virtually that day. Wednesday is a day for us to do some extensive deep cleaning in between group A and group B. So not only do we follow a very strict cleaning schedule on Mondays and Tuesdays and Thursdays and Fridays, but Wednesdays and Saturdays in between learning groups, we have extra cleaning that's done. And I got confirmation this morning that we've hired additional staff to help us with that. So as they say, many hands make light work. We're hoping that we're able to really do the most thorough job we can on Wednesdays and Saturdays. The exception to this is if you have a child who's in Miss Reich, Mr. Royal, or Miss Via's class. They're on a little bit of a modified hybrid schedule where they're on campus Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday from 8 until 12. And I know that all of those families have been in touch with their teacher specifically, but that is the one exception to this hybrid model. How are we feeling, everyone? I'm not hearing a lot, and I don't see anything in the chat. Are we feeling good? We keep going? Yeah.
I do have a question. I'm sorry. My name is Ronalyn Farrell. I have a first grader, Taylor Farrell.
Hi.
Yes. Hi. I guess my question is, how and when do we know which group our children will fall in? And because I am actually out of San Miguel's zone, I'm not actually zoned for you all. Well, one, I guess, am I going to be required to bring my child? And then 2, are buses even running at all?
Great questions. So Taylor is on she's one of our students. So she'll be plugged into one of our schedules. We will be providing parents with class lists no later than Thursday. And I know that is on everyone's mind, first and foremost. There are so many moving parts and pieces to class lists that we want to make sure that we do it the right way and send it out just once so that you know this is it. This is a done deal. There's no kind of, oh, hang on, we messed up on this class. Oh, hold on, we have to switch this class. So Thursday is our last date for sure. You will have your class list by. I'm hoping to do it before then though. And that will confirm your child's teacher as well as whether they're in the A group or the B group. And then we are providing transportation, however, only to our students that require it via their IEP. And typically it's because their disability is such that they're not able to get to school independently without that special education service.
Okay, thank you. I do have one more follow-up question,
Yes.
just because you mentioned confirmation of teachers.
Yes.
Taylor is with Mr. Mendoza, and she really gels with him and his personality. She responds really well to him. So I guess my main concern is, obviously I'm one of the parents that chose the hybrid model, right? But what is the risk of her not retaining Mr. Mendoza as her teacher?
Great question. I'm sure on everyone's mind as well when it comes to your individual kiddos. So the reality is we have had to do some shuffling of teachers, and that's because San Miguel students are San Miguel students, and we had to account for those 77 that requested to remain in a virtual learning academy. We don't want to send them to another school with another teacher and really kind of disrupt everything. However, what that is going to mean is that there are some students that may have a new teacher. We are prioritizing every possible option to keep students with their current classroom teacher. She is a perfect example because they do have a wonderful connection, as do all of our kids and their teachers. However, we have to find a way to support those 77 students that want to remain virtual. And while we've gotten some additional support from the district in terms of some temporary teachers to help lift that load, we are going to have to do a little bit of reorganization to make sure that we can account for those other students that requested virtual. So when you get your child's letter, when you get the letter saying Taylor is on this day with this teacher, call me and talk through questions or concerns. I will do my best to explain everything as thoroughly as possible. If you know me at all, you know that I am as transparent as they come. I will break down numbers for you and I will explain how we arrived at whatever solution we did. But just call me and let's talk through it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Absolutely.
You do have one more question in the chat box about students that want to change their mind.
Oh, okay, hang on. My chat isn't like pop. Oh, it's hidden. That's why.
I can just read it to you.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah, so it says, if I fill out the survey for my students to stay in Zoom, but I want to change my mind, I want my students to go in school, so join hybrid. Can I still enroll him? So I'm just curious what's your cutoff date for moving?
Absolutely. So at this point, we really have very few exceptions for changing requests, and that's simply because there are a million moving parts and pieces. But what I'm asking is that if you have a concern about the survey that you filled out, or if you feel as though you want to change your mind, please call me here at the school. Just call me and we'll talk through it. Christopher, I know, is in Mr. Royal's class. So please, mom or dad, whoever, type that in the chat. Please call me tomorrow at the school and we'll talk through it.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I just love
Julie, it's Megan. I have a couple questions.
Yes.
So in regard to when they're doing the group A's and group B's, do not come over here. Sorry. When they're doing their group A's and group B's, say they're in their group A and they're on campus. What's happening with the group B and who's teaching them on Mondays and Tuesdays and vice versa when they switch and go from there? Because obviously their teacher who they're with is probably not going to be available to do the Zooms. So how's that going to work?
Great question. And I think that, oh, look at that. It's the next slide. It's like I planted you. So students that are in person, if you look at the right side of the chart, that's sort of an overview of what their day looks like. So they have like a morning meeting or a social emotional check-in with their teacher. Obviously, they're doing language arts instruction, math instruction, small group support. In particular, if a student is a multilingual, they will have lots of options for physical activity. We had a big staff meeting on that today and have some great ideas. And then if your child does have an IEP, to the greatest extent possible, we are hoping to provide supports in person. There may be some exceptions to that based on scheduling and whatnot, but we're really prioritizing that if they have an IEP, they see that support staff in person. Now, on the days that they are distance learning, they are still going to be a part of that morning meeting or that social emotional meeting check-in with their teacher. So I'm stealing, I don't know if it's Mariana or Erica's phrase, but the roomies and the zoomies. So you'll have your kiddos that are in the room at their individual desks, and then the teacher will up on the Promethean board have all the kids that are on Zoom at home, the zoomies. So they'll still be able to have that morning meeting time together. And then in addition to that, we have been very lucky that we have a lot of support staff who have agreed to work additional hours so that students have like extra time synchronous learning throughout their home days. So what that means is that AMP, which for us Q4 is art will be on home days. Our media specialist is going to provide library time to every single grade level classroom. We also have some amazing paraprofessionals who will be providing small group support to kids, in addition to their asynchronous, iReady and whatnot. Because we're really prioritizing the in-person instruction, all of those things that they usually did in the afternoon, like the iReady minutes or, all of kind of the computer time, that will just happen on those distance learning days. But because we have so many choices in terms of additional like touches for kids, that they won't just be sitting in front of a computer screen by themselves on their opposite day. Does that
Ms.
answer that
Jones?
question?
So
Sorry.
they will they have an instructor during that day, or just for their morning meeting, and then they'll just go on to do their typical like asynchronous work, and then at the end of the day, that's it?
So Aubrey will have her classroom teacher in the morning on her, whatever her home days are, with the roomies and the zoomies kind of whole group morning meeting. And then likely her schedule will include, depending on the day of the week, time with our art teacher, time with our librarian, time with one of our paraprofessionals. So it's not going to be time, synchronous time, Zoom time with her teacher per se, but she'll have other instructors that she sees throughout the day.
That makes more sense. Okay, perfect. And that'll be the same for when Ari and Aubrey. So
every grade level will have art, every grade level will have library time, and every grade level will have additional small group support from one of our paras. So
Okay.
Kiddos on their home days are not just sitting at home working on iReady, because
Okay.
that would be awful.
yes.
So I know you said that the class list will be available Thursday. Teachers will send that out electronically via Dojo. Someone asked, will the class lists also be mailed?
So what I'm intending on doing is that we'll be mailing some kind of letter home to families, along with some really great infographics that our health clerk got in regards to health and safety protocols and mask wearing and screening that will occur at home. So you'll kind of be getting sort of a package of things, if you will.
Okay, I have another question then.
Yes, please.
So I know that obviously, I don't know if you guys have been noticing, but there have been a jump in some of the cases that have come up across the country at this point, just since things have started to reopen. Is there a chance that we will not even make it to the kids going back to in-person? Or is that kind of we're gonna do it until the end of the school year and then see where we go? What's that to look like at this point?
That's a great question. And I have to say that I feel like every answer I give kind of has a timestamp to it. Like, this is my answer as of March 22nd at 5:58 p.m. I mean, just to be very honest, because we've had, as you guys know, a million different changes that have occurred. And I can say that not only is San Miguel 100% committed to providing in-person support to kids, but our district office staff, our superintendent, our cabinet members, our board members, they are really committed to doing this. The only reason I could see if that wouldn't happen is because all of a sudden the spike was so severe that there was another shelter in place order. I mean, if the governor said everything shuts down, everyone go home. I mean, if we went back to like that March 13th directive, that in my mind would be the one reason that we'd have to stay home. Other than that, we have so many health and safety protocols in place, in addition to active screening for staff and for students, really minimizing people coming on and off campus, that I feel so confident that we can do this safely. So in my mind, I want to say the only reason is that we couldn't is because we were told by someone way above my pay grade that we can't.
Perfect, thank you. I just wanted to see if that was even something that had been discussed at this point, because they're, so I just wanted to kind of have a timeline as, okay, is this possible that we're not even gonna make it? So, thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. These are great questions, guys. Again, this is your time to get the information that you need. So please keep it coming if you have anything else. All right, let's keep going. I sort of mentioned this briefly, but again, students that are in Mr. Royal, Mrs. Villa, and Mrs. Reich's class, they will have an opportunity to be on kind of a modified hybrid schedule, 4 days a week, half day. And then we do have some students on those classroom rosters that have opted to stay virtual, and they will continue in a virtual setting with support as well. And then we have many students with IEP services, and we are prioritizing that as much as possible, those services happen in person. And if you have an IEP meeting that has to happen this year, that will continue on Zoom. The next two slides, again, you probably have seen because they've been shared in a variety of settings, but I think that they're just such great visual reminders. And these really are our core pillars in terms of following health and safety protocols. So the best way to prevent COVID is to make sure we have all of our mitigation strategies in place. So like I mentioned before, I'm going to go from the top left down and then across. Top left, screening and testing. Staff will now be able to participate in bi-weekly, which I just learned is every other week because I forget like bi-weekly, bi-monthly, like what's what, every other week COVID testing here on site, which is great. They don't have to go somewhere and wait in line and do it. We will have options for staff to be tested here on site. And then we also, families have the option to also have their child tested here on site on their days that they are in person. That is not a requirement. It is absolutely require your consent. And my understanding is that it's the COVID test, like the saliva test, not the nose test. But if you are interested, and we'll be sending out more information once it becomes available, but students have the option to receive a COVID test here as well when they're on campus. Moving down to the bottom left, the socially distancing piece, and I'm going to say physically distancing piece, is a really, really, really important part of what we're doing to set up our spaces. All of our classrooms have individual student desks spaced 6 feet apart. And then we've got lots of protocols for outside space where students also maintain physical distancing. Now I'm moving over to the pink section, the mask wearing piece. Facial coverings are required for all, and it says students, but it's for all folks on campus, staff and students, unless there is a prevailing medical condition. So if there is a reason that you feel that your child is not able to wear a facial covering from a medical perspective, please call me. Please call me and we will talk through it. Students are able to remove their masks while they're eating and while they're drinking. And then teachers are also figuring out options throughout the day of giving a space for kids to be outside 6 feet apart, having their mask down. It would probably be doing some kind of independent work, but in a very safe kind of setting and outside for kids to be able to just get a little bit of fresh air. And then we have, as I mentioned before, a ton of cleaning products and cleaning protocols here that will occur daily, in addition to a deep cleaning on Wednesdays and Saturdays in between our Group A and our Group B kids. Teachers have been directed to actually embed within their classroom schedules times for students to hand wash and to use hand sanitizer. The majority of our classrooms have a sink inside of them. However, regardless, every teacher is aware of times that students need to be washing hands, like before and after using the bathroom and meals and recess and all of that good stuff. So that will actually be a part of a classroom schedule. We have a million beautiful places for outside learning here, which is great. We have more space than some other campuses where kids can be outside and learning. So teachers will have the discretion to be able to identify times where, okay, kids, we're going outside. Bring your math books. We're all going to go outside and get some fresh air and learn and, you know, have that opportunity, which I think is so important. And then all of our buildings, every single one of them has a bipolar ionization unit installed. And essentially what it does is it purifies and cleans the air to some nth degree. And if you're interested in learning more, I do have a video that was done at a board presentation, a school board presentation I could share with you, but it really is a wonderful way to make sure that the air circulating is always clean. And then students will have individual spaces and individual supplies. I will show you some photos very soon so you can see it, but we've considered lots of options for kids to have individual things so that there's no sharing of germs and whatnot.
Ms. Jones, the question came up about recess, so we are actually renaming it.
Yes, great question. And we'll get to that soon, but just so you know, and people think I'm crazy, but go with me on this. People have preconceived notions about recess. We all kind of know in our brain what recess is. It's sort of like a free-for-all where kids can kind of just go out and play, and, you know, people have these preconceived notions. Whereas a fresh air break is a whole new thing that no one really knows about, and kids have to learn new protocols and new practices, and things don't look the same as recess. So we will definitely have a morning and an afternoon fresh air break, or as someone called it, like a fab, because it's kind of a mouthful. And we will have options for kids to be in different spaces outside, on the blacktop, on the playground. So we will definitely have fresh air breaks. And again, kids have to learn what that means. So it's not like we have to reinvent recess. We just make this new thing. But yes, we'll definitely have fresh air breaks.
But yes, they will have items that they can play with that will be sanitized, and it will still have some aspects of recess.
Yep, definitely. Fresh air breaks. It's the new phrase. Gotta monitor.
Ms. Jones,
Yes.
I do have one question. Just because you talked about supplies and individual supplies,
Mhm.
when our students are going to the actual building, what items are they bringing with them, if anything, i.e. their laptops or anything like that?
Great question. And I do get to that at the end, but just kind of like a synopsis, really, other than a Chromebook, their Chromebook and their charger and a water bottle, they really don't need to bring anything. Like, we got it. We will take care of them here. And all of that we will cover in the letter that I send home as well. But we'll be providing all the materials, meals, all of that good stuff. And I do encourage you, if your child has a backpack, to bring the backpack for their water bottle and their folder, and for their Chromebook. But otherwise,
Okay,
we got it taken care of.
thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, so San Miguel specifics. What does this mean for us here at San Miguel? So as I mentioned before, students will be in an A group and a B group. Our school hours remain the same for students in kinder through 6th. So no change in school hours. It's still 8 a.m. to 2:20 on the days that students are on campus. And then, as I mentioned, students in Ms. Via's, Mr. Royal, and Mrs. Reich's class dismiss at 12. And then students in preschool attend 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. or 12 to 3 p.m. And then our group A's and our group B's have their different days that they're on campus. I know that this is a little bit blurry, but I'm hoping you can see it clear enough to see that students will have an assigned gate that they enter and they exit from. The reason for this is it helps us kind of crowd control, if you will. It helps us not have students congregating. So kinder and first grade will use the kinder gate, which is the one all the way here to the left. It's right in between room 3 and room 2. Students in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade will use the main gate, which is that standard gate, the big black gate right outside of the office. And then students in grades grades 5 and 6 will use the auditorium gate. Now we will have visual markers on the ground for students to wait as they enter campus, but it's important to know that students will have different gates that they enter and exit from. We will have lots of signage for kids to know, wait, do I go to this gate or that gate? We will have signs so they know where to enter. And then at the end of the day, signs for them to line up at in terms of pickup as well. But this helps us maintain all of our physical distancing protocols. We have a lot of extra staff, which is such a gift because staff will be able to support students getting to their room. I don't know where Mr. Stowe's room is, or I forgot, where's room 11? So being able to have extra hands on campus to help students get to where they need to go.
You better not forget.
Well,
I'm saying room 11, they were there last year.
I know, but think about all our new ones too, who have never been to room 11. And really the reason that we are overflowing our staff support is because we are not able to have any additional visitors or volunteers onto campus. It just feels yucky to say that. It really hurts my heart to say, I'm so sorry, all of you amazing families, but we can't have you on campus. But it really is because that is our way to make sure that we keep track of who's here. We minimize, groupings, and we keep our students and our staff as safe as possible. I know it just does not even feel good to say it out loud, but we're not able to have any parent visitors or volunteers onto campus. The only folks that are permitted onto campus other than students are Lemon Grove district employees or people that we may have a contract with. For example, if you don't know, we just finished an amazing art installation right above room 4. And that artist we had an agreement with that artist. She was vetted and fingerprinted and did all of our health and safety protocols. So unless people fit into one of those 2 buckets that we have a contractor's agreement with them, or they have a lemongrovesd.net email address, we can't have folks on campus. And I know that's gonna just not feel nice, but I'm hoping that that's only for the remainder of this year. So questions on this piece? I know, I see sad faces. I know. Okay, so thinking about student health screening. So we have 2 parts to health screening. One of them is the passive piece and the visual piece. So we are asking that adults at home, if your child is not feeling well, or if you believe that they have come in close contact with someone who's tested positive for COVID, we ask that you please keep them home. The only way that we can make sure that our kids stay safe is we make sure that they're healthy when they're on campus, and we have to have your partnership with that. So if your child has any symptoms that are COVID related, or if you believe that they're a close contact, please keep them home. Please, please, please keep them home. While students are coming onto campus, we will have staff members supporting at each of the gates. We'll be doing kind of a visual screening so that no one's coming in without a mask on, no one's coming in clearly not feeling well. So we'll do kind of an initial screening at the gate. And then after that, we have an active screening that will happen at your child's classroom. So what will happen is that I'm going to use room 11. They're going to walk to room 11. Miss Adams is waiting at the door with this lovely infographic on the right side of your screen. Kids will have to answer the 3 questions, which are, have you or anyone in your household tested positive for COVID in the last 14 days? Have you knowingly had contact with anyone that has been diagnosed with COVID? And do you have any of the following COVID symptoms? Now, we know that students may not all be able to read this, so we'll certainly make this age appropriate and support them in answering these questions. And then students have to have their temperature taken by the teacher. They are not permitted onto campus or into the classroom, if they have a temperature of 100 degrees or higher, or if they've answered yes, like, oh my gosh, I have a headache and my stomach is upset and I have a fever, that will be where we will have to have them come back to the office and we'll have to call for someone to come pick them up. So this active screening will take place at every child's classroom from 7:45 when the gates open to 8 a.m. And then if we have any late arrivals, the same screening will take place in the office or right out front of the office. Questions on that student health screening portion? Okay. So in class and around campus, we've got lots of things set up in terms of health and safety protocols. So all students will have an individual desk with a plexiglass partition. This actually, the individual plexiglass partitions, that goes above and beyond the current health and safety protocols. But we, out of our money allocated to San Miguel, decided to purchase one so that every student has an individual plexiglass partition at their desk. Students will also have their own individual materials. It's grade level appropriate, of course, but it's just for their hands to use on the days that they're on campus. And then we have a process for students to use a bathroom pass and go to a designated bathroom. There's a capacity in the bathroom too, so that we don't have kids congregating in the bathroom. We've got visual markings. I think we brought about 7 miles worth of red duct tape, and I am not exaggerating. We have so much duct tape, it's amazing. I didn't know how much I loved duct tape until last week. But we will have visual markings on the ground, bright red duct tape that indicates a 6-foot space for students that are waiting for lunch or waiting outside their classroom. And then we also have the opportunity for teachers to provide support outside. And we have very small class sizes, which is great. None of our classes exceed 15 kids per stable group. So you will not have a class that, is, you see some classes that are a little bit more tight than others. Our students are spaced out really beautifully, and we don't have any class groups that exceed more than 15 kids. So what this looks like, here are some photos. So on the top right, the red and black laminated piece right there, that is currently what our bathroom pass is going to look like. We may have to make some tweaks based on some feedback from staff today. But the idea is that students will have a visual reminder of the bathroom capacity. The middle picture right here, which I agree, looking at it right now, is probably very strange. But they're individual little Velcro dots that we can place around carpets so that we make sure, even if kiddos are on the carpets in our lower grades, that they're still 6 feet apart. You'll see this is a standard classroom setup right here. So each desk has an individual plexiglass partition. You can't really tell, but there are 3 little white things between the desk and the partition. And that's that super strong, like masking tape, the thick kind of tape to hold that together. And then every desk is separated 6 feet apart from chair to chair. And then this is an example up here on the top left of one of our visual markers. These are all out in front of the campus right now. The ones inside will probably be all of the red duct tape, but this is just some visuals of what it will look like. We also have some students coming onto campus on Wednesday, some of our 6th grade leaders who are gonna do like a walkthrough video so kids can see, like, this is how you walk onto campus, and this is what your room will look like, and this is how you line up for lunch, and this is how you line up for the bathroom, and this is what fresh air breaks look like. So kids will be able to watch that with you guys before they come onto campus to kind of get some visuals, because I know that kids are probably a little bit, just uncertain of like what to expect. So just some San Miguel specific visuals right now. Questions? Feeling okay? I mean, as good as, can be expected? It's going to be great. It's going to be absolutely great. Okay, so meals and fresh air breaks. I know this slide is wordy, so I will do my best to summarize while you read. Typically, we provide breakfast in the classroom. That will not be happening now. So students need to come, they need to eat breakfast before they come onto campus. That's because we do not want to have students eating inside as a health and safety measure. So students need to eat before they come onto campus. However, we will still be providing breakfast food via a meal distribution system. So what that will look like is that on the kiddos' last day on campus, so for group A'ers on Tuesday, they will actually take home a kit of food that will include breakfast food as well as lunch and supper for their asynchronous days. Now, our nutrition services staff are working very hard to dial this plan in, but likely what will happen is that as students are leaving on their last day of campus, they will take the food kind of grab and go style so that moms and dads and grown-ups at home, you don't have to worry about making lunch and breakfast on their Zoom days. They'll have that ready for them. And then breakfast food will be included in that kit. We will still be providing lunch during the school day. So we have always had a great, well, at least recently, we've always had a grade level lunch schedule. So kinder eats, and then first grade eats, and second grade eats. We'll still be following that schedule a little bit more stretched out to account for some more buffer of time to move kids around. But students will still receive lunch at school. And then, as I mentioned, they'll kind of get a grab and go bag of food to take home with them on their last day. And if you do have any students that are participating in the year-long virtual program or they're staying in distance learning, on Wednesdays, time is still to be determined. Wednesdays, you will have the option to do a drive-through meal pickup in our parking lot. So they'll still have access to meals. And then I just put a visual in here. This is one of our maps, just for you to kind of see. The red arrows it's one-way directionality for our students to follow so that we minimize congregating and students clustering together. Questions on meals? And if you would like to bring your child's lunch, you are still able to. I know my son is the pickiest eater. He eats the same 10 foods, so school food would not work for him. But if your child is good with school lunch, then don't worry about lunch. We got it here. Okay. Whoops, wrong way.
All right, Julie, I
Yes.
do have a question.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi, Maria.
Hi. So are you guys gonna put out on the websites what they're gonna have lunch for those days so I can plan if I'm gonna bring her lunch?
Maria, that is a great question that has not come up yet. I'm assuming the answer is yes, but I just want to double check with Amanda, who's our lead in the kitchen.
Okay.
Great question. Awesome.
Student may want to bring a lunch on that day.
Yep, maybe they don't like taco pockets, you know, it's not going to work for them that day. All right, so let's talk about fresh air breaks, e.g. recess, but we're going to call them fresh air breaks. So students will have a morning and an afternoon fresh air break as they have always had, one in the morning and one after lunch. Students will follow a grade level schedule to minimize student gatherings. And what I did is I took kind of a Google map, an overhead map, and I gave you a visual of what this will look like. So we have broken our outside spaces into zones, and students will stay with their class in their assigned zone. So for example, in first grade, we have 2 teachers. So when it's time for their fresh air break, students in one of the classes will be in zone 1, which is the play structure and the grass. And students in our other first grade class will be in zone 2, which is the blacktop. Again, we are gifted with some extra support staff, one who is on this meeting with us right now. We are able to provide supervision to make sure that students not only stay within their assigned zones, but also as much as possible support physical distancing. We've already thought about ways to structure recess so where students aren't just like, well, what am I going to do? I'm sitting here and I'm bored. While giving them time or giving them the opportunity to have physical distancing as well. And then teachers have the option to provide as many fresh air breaks as appropriate for their class. We actually, what you're seeing now, this map is like version 1. I think now we have like a new map of like 9 zones, so that teachers can actually sign up and say, I want to do an outside activity with my kids, you know, from 8 to 9 in zone 7. And I want to do a science observation from 9 to 9:30 in zone 2 or whatever it is, so that kids can be outside more, which is great for everybody. But you can see that we actually are able to separate kids so that they can still play and be kids while doing so safely. And again, remember that our class sizes are pretty small. So even though, you know, classes can only stay in their zone, we're talking about a max of 15 kids, which really is not that many kids. Questions on fresh air breaks, our rebranding of recess?
No questions in the chat box.
Thank you, Miss Adams. You're my chat box monitor. Yay, I'm so excited about this. We are not requiring uniforms for the rest of the year. Did everybody hear that? Spread the word, spread the word. Yay, I see you, Valerie. Yay, I agree. Oh my goodness. No uniforms required for the rest of the year. Let's be honest, you all have gone through enough this year, and the thought of having to run out and purchase uniforms, especially if you have a 6th grader, it's just one extra thing that we can take off of your plate. So while students do not need to wear uniforms, we do have a dress code policy that kids must follow. Really, it's common sense, you know, no pajamas, no slippers, no spaghetti straps, no crop tops, no flip-flops. This handout, this flyer, has been in all of our newsletters for the last couple weeks. But we'll also probably send this home as a hard copy to make sure that you can review it with your kiddos. But again, for the rest of the school year, no uniforms. Now, I've had some families say, can they wear their uniform? Sure. If it makes your life easier in the morning, they can absolutely wear their uniform, but it will not be required. So, yay. All right. So, thinking about kind of what do you need to know now? I have just filled your brain with a ton of information, but our next steps are that, as I mentioned before, you will have class lists via email and Dojo no later than Thursday, and really hoping to get those to you ahead of time if we can just work out our last couple moving parts and pieces. Please make sure that you check your email, your class, and your school dojo daily. There's just so much information we're throwing at you guys. So please, please, please stay in contact with us. As I mentioned, we have some awesome kiddos coming onto campus to make a video of kind of walking us through on-campus procedures. So consider watching that with your children before they actually come onto campus in April. And I threw this in there after talking with our school social worker. We're all, as typical adults, feeling a lot of emotions about this. So our kids are experiencing it 10 times. So just make sure that you talk to your kids. Every emotion is normal. Joy, fear, anxiety, uncertainty, happiness, it's all good. And we are gonna put lots of emphasis on making sure kids feel safe and happy here at school. So lots of chances to get familiar with the campus, do community building, do art and PE. Still learning, of course, but making sure kids feel happy about being here. I also encourage you to have your child practice wearing a facial covering as much as possible. I know that it is not the most fun thing. And while we will have chances for kids to take a break from it for a little bit while they're on campus, kids are going to have to wear it when they're inside. So please make sure to have them practice as you see appropriate. And then the last one is to get your child's backpack ready. I encourage you to bring a water bottle. We will have disposable cups for them to drink water with, but I encourage them to bring a water bottle, and then their Chromebook and their charger every day. Other than that, we will provide the rest. We got it. We got their materials, their food, their red folders, all of that good stuff. We got everything else. So, and again, just to go all the way back to the beginning, our goal is to make sure that students are getting the best instruction possible, whether they're staying in virtual or coming back in hybrid. And like I said, my personal goal is to make sure that they want to come back next year. They feel so good about being here, even after everything that's taken place this school year, that they're like, I can't wait to go back to San Miguel next year. That's it. That's it, right? That was 55 minutes of like overload information. But I am here as long as you guys need me to answer questions, to give you feedback, to help in whatever way I can. If you are like, Julie, I am done, like I am at my overload, you welcome to sign off and head on with your evening. But any other questions or thoughts or feedback?
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, so my daughter doesn't have a Chromebook. She's been using her own laptop. Will she be provided one for the school, from the school?
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
Okay, and she's going to keep that in class, or she's taking it home with her?
So students will bring their Chromebooks back and forth. Now they may not use them. They may come on campus and it may stay in their backpack the whole day because they're going to do other stuff while they're here. But just to be sure and keep kids in the habit, we're going to ask all kids to bring their Chromebooks back and forth each day. So Maria, will you, could you email me and I will send you the link that you request the Chromebook from our tech department.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Great question.
Ms. Jones, thank you so much. But I do have one final question.
Absolutely.
With regard to bringing them, and I saw the maps, that's great. Just because we're new family, so we've never dropped off before. Do you have additional resources, or can I request additional resources to show me like how I'll need to get to this school and where drop-off area is and where pickup area is?
Yeah, definitely. We have in previous parent handbooks kind of a layout, a map of the front of the school in terms of pickup and drop off. But that's a really great question because Taylor is not our only new student. So lots of families, I'm sure, are like, well, what do I do? Is it So thank you for bringing that up. I will include that in our parent notifications.
Thank you.
And then maybe we can include that in our video that we shoot on Wednesday as well.
Awesome idea. Awesome idea.
Thanks, Julie. I'll see you on Thursday.
Yep. See you then. On Zoom, guys, don't worry. Just putting it out there.
We have a meeting. A meeting.
Bye, Ms. Bolins.
Bye, Ms. Jones. Bye, Ms. Adams. Thank you.
Bye, Estefania.
Bye.
Bye, Valerie. So excited to see your kiddos. Anything else, guys? I am here as long as you need me to be. I'm going to stop sharing though. Do that.
Mrs. Jones,
Yes.
is face shields going to be okay, or do they have to wear the full masks?
So unless the child has a medical condition where they cannot wear a mask, we are requiring facial coverings like a mask or what are those things called that you pull up?
Garters.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, the little it's kind of like a scarf or something.
Gators.
Gators.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
So and whether it's a disposable mask or a mask or a cloth mask, it does need to be some kind of facial covering that way. That will go home for sure in our parent notification. Unless the child has some kind of medical reason that they can't wear that, which in that case, please call me at the office.
Okay. Thank you for answering that question.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you for all the information.
Sorry, it was a lot.
It's okay. I'd rather have too much than not enough.
True. And we'll share the video and the presentation so you can absorb as the days go on.
Perfect. Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too. You
Thanks.
too.
Bye-bye.
Anybody else?
Ms. Jones,
Yes. Jennifer. Hi again.
I have a question. I was late. So did you record? I know. I had to go and come back. Did you record this one so I can
Yep.
catch up with the?
We
Okay.
are recording it and
Okay,
it'll be
perfect.
on this. We'll send it out via the Stallion Station on our YouTube channel.
Okay, perfect.
Put it on
Thank you.
Dojo too.
Along with the presentation too, along with the slides.
Okay, good.
Mhm.
We'll see you on Wednesday, right, Jennifer?
Yes, correct.
What's Wednesday?
Goran's coming to do the video.
Oh, for drop off for Goran. I was like, wait, I don't have a meeting on Wednesday, do I? Yes. To drop Goran off to film to be a celebrity.
Yes.
Anyone else?
Ms. Adams, do you know how long?
I'm thinking like 30 to 45 minutes. I can't imagine it would take longer than that, but what do you think, Miss Adams?
Yeah, probably, let's say 45 minutes just to be sure.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
1 to 1:45.
Okay, okay,
That's a good point.
okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? I'm gonna assume that's a no, but again, I'm here. And if you'd like to wait and have a conversation after folks leave, that's fine too. But thank you, Miss Adams, for being my chat monitor and my my co-host. That was super appreciated.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
All right, I will see you tomorrow.
All right.
Bye.
Mrs. Jones, I have one more question, and it's kind of more like a personal per my kid question.
Sure, no problem.
Over the last year, my kid has actually become very obsessive compulsive with washing his hands. And he's actually become very, I don't know how to